Hello and welcome back to Modded Vintage Story. Good morning, it's another beautiful drifter-free day in our world with our lovely new house. Now, I wanted to start off this episode by addressing a comment I got on the last one, which states that if you take these these one roof blocks and place them in your inventory, you will get a dynamic roof, as you can see. And the upside with these is that they will automatically take the texture of the block beneath them. So you can see it's taking the dirt texture there. But if there's no block beneath them, they'll actually remove that little stair step you normally get with roof tiles. So that should make our roof look a little bit nicer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Thank you very much to the commenter for mentioning that. I always appreciate tips with the mods. There, now that does look a bit nicer. Nice improvement to our little A-frame dirt hut. I'm really excited to see the possibilities of one roof when we get to a more complex building with different types of roofing, maybe clay shingles or something like that. We'll have to see. Now, moving on to the next order of business, you may have noticed in the last episode that I struggled to deal with that shiver we found. And I think that was because I do not really grasp the nuances of one of the mods I'm using, called Combat Overhaul. Now, in Vanilla Vintage Story, combat is serviceable at best, I would say. It is not very complicated, it is very Minecraft. You hit the enemy and that's it. There is some nuance with the armor system and the different penalties you get for different types of armor, but that's not a ton of juice to the system, you could say. Now, Combat Overhaul seeks to add on to the vanilla systems with things like different armor layers, as you can see in our character menu here, different types of weapons, and different types of damage. If you look at this straw dummy here in the top of the screen, you'll see it has protection levels, and then blunt, slashing, and piercing is the types of damage you can do. And different weapons have different attacks. Some weapons can even have different types of damage depending on the attack you do. These spears, for example, are piercing damage. So if we hit it, we can see that not only are there different types of damage, there are different moves you can do. You can see the little indicator on the screen moving up and down. If I hit when it's down, I do a pretty basic spear attack. If I hit when it's up, I do kind of an overhead attack. And different weapons have different types of moves they can make. Swords can have more slashing or thrusting attacks, I believe. And different character classes get different proficiencies with weapons. If you look at our traits menu, along with the vanilla traits, we have crossbows, firearms, and quarterstaffs proficiency. And now, crossbows and firearms are pretty exciting because they can do a lot of damage, but quarterstaffs is something I didn't think about when I was selecting this class, and it's actually a pretty good proficiency because quarterstaffs do blunt damage, and most temporal critters like drifters and shivers and the like have protection against both slashing and piercing damage. So a blunt weapon is going to be a pretty good thing to use against them. Now, we can't make blunt quarterstaffs yet. As you can see, if I type in quarterstaffs, they do require iron to make, or not iron, any type of metal to make. But that's something to look forward to once we get into metallurgy. Thank you for your participation, Mr. Straw Dummy. You can go ahead and guard our porch for now. We may have more use for him when we want to practice with other types of weapons from Combat Overhaul. Now, I realized that while we set up this whole butchering station last episode, we didn't actually use it. So I think I'm going to rectify that situation and try to demonstrate the butchering process today. By going on a hunt, I'm thinking we can try and go for one of those deers we spotted over that way earlier. This should give us some good practice with our spear and hopefully give us some food because we are once again running low. So I didn't find the herd from before. I'm used to vanilla animals staying pretty much where they spawn, but it looks like these fauna of the Stone Age animals are more mobile. However, I did find this herd of large deer here, and maybe these will be a good place to practice. At least they're a bigger target, right? So let's go ahead and go for a hunt. Oh no! The deer fighting back! Better run! Oh no! Oh dear. I got killed by a giant deer cow and I'm floating up into the sky. This seems unintended. Let's maybe try that again. Now here's the herd of smaller deer. Let's try one of these on for size. There we go. Not a moment too soon, either. Now, the thing that butchering does is it makes it so you can't just harvest on the spot. If we did, we would get only a very few scraps of meat, if anything at all. What we need to do is free up a backpack slot and pick up the carcass. As you can see, we've got a dead animal signified by the hunk of meat, and now we can take it back to the skinning hook to process. And here we are back home. Now we just take the skinning hook and right click, and we get a hunk of meat. So now we have to go ahead and skin our kill, which we do with a right click. And as you can see, we now have a hunk of meat that is dripping blood. If we wanted to, if we had a bucket, we could collect the blood for use in cooking. However, we don't quite have access to bucket technology left, so we need to just let this hang until it's drained. Now, it will rot on the hook if we leave it too long. Truth be told, this isn't a very optimal butchering setup. We should be using a cellar. However, we don't quite have the wherewithal to do that yet, so outdoors butchering it is. Thankfully, I don't think the mod author added a system where hanging fresh meat will attract hungry bears. Let's hope they didn't implement that anyway. And there we go. You can see the meat has significantly lost color. That means the blood's all drained out. Now we take it from the hook. Oh, right, still a backpack slot. And we can put our freshly drained carcass on the table here. Now we have to take a knife and butcher the meat. As you can see, it left a carcass behind. We can get the normal bones from this. And in addition, we got some other things. We got, aside from normal raw red meat, we got offal, which can be used to make sausages, and prime meat, which is a very tasty form of regular meat. And this mod has some compatibility with expanded foods and the like, so we can use their materials for all kinds of tasty treats. Now, I'm going to spend the night doing a bit of home renovation, and I'll see you all in the morning. I'm gonna cook up this prime meat and maybe make some stew out of the rest. There, I went ahead and placed a new floor at our house. It's nothing fancy, just a bit of packed dirt, but it's better than looking at a bunch of grass. Oh, I forgot to do the doorstep, probably because there are all kinds of horrible creatures waiting to eat me if I dared step out front my door. There we go. Now, on to other business. We're getting to the end of May here, and I generally like to start farming as soon as I can, generally early June. So I want to go ahead and get to work on that. I only found a few seeds so far, and I'd like to get as many as we can in before winter. So let's go ahead and explore the area. Look for some. Oh, hello, Mr. Bear. We're gonna have to take care of you sooner rather than later. Looks like plans are derailed until he is dead and gone. So let's take care of that. So my normal technique for bear hunting is to either dig a big pit or build a pillar. But I'm going to try out this technique I saw from someone on Reddit. It involves this little circle of dirt here, and I've made it 4 tall because bears or brown bears can reach a block height of 3. So let's see if this works. The first step, of course, is to attract the bear. And run like heck. Let's see. He can't get to me, so now we can spear him. Oh, of course, this has to happen as well. There's a bullthorn complicating things. Let's see if we can't kill the bear anyway. While trying not to get speared. Here, let's just run him down. Now, I think the bear might have fallen into this pit, so let's go ahead and check real quick. I don't see him. Yep, there he is. I don't think he can get out, so he's just gonna despawn eventually. But I'm gonna call that mission successful. The bear is dealt with. And our home is safe. So let's go ahead and take these down and get back to what we were doing. On second thought, let's leave them up, just, in case. Now, as I said, my goal is to find seeds, and I'll let you know if I find anything else interesting in the meantime. Now, this is a fly-covered carcass from the Fauna of the Stone Age mod. Specifically, it's a canine carcass. With this, what it means is that dogs will not spawn in this area. So, since this is near our house, I'm going to go ahead and leave this carcass alone, and it should deter spawns. Of course, other animals may come and eat the carcass, so if we really wanted, we could build a fence around it, but I'm not going to bother with that. Some wild cabbage. This is from the New World Crops mod. Now, we can't actually get cabbage plants from this, but we can get cabbage seeds. It adds a new way of getting them, separate from finding them in loot. More fruit trees, that's always handy. I'll have to make sure to come back around in the fall and pick up some fruit and some cuttings to start our own orchard. I see you, Mr. Lion. Or Miss Lion, I believe, though I don't see any cubs with her. Of course, we have flax, the most important crop in the game. It's incredibly critical in vanilla, and mods make it only more so. Is that? Yes, I believe that is a woolly mammoth or some manner of elephant. If we could take that down, it would be a huge source of meat, but I don't think we're capable of doing that just yet. It's a bit rifty, so we'd better cut this short. Also, check out my tried and true technique of leaving the inventory window open so you can stuff more things into your crafting slots. That's not cheap at all. Well, we got a few seeds, some grains, some vegetables, and a pretty pathetic amount of flax. I think I'm gonna spend at least another day or two searching, just to make sure I have a good supply to start with. In the meantime, I am going to make myself a crude bow and some arrows, because I am noticing that hunting with spears is rather difficult. I think Combat Overhaul makes at least the stone ones have a very severe drop-off, worse than vanilla. So I'm going to see if hunting with arrows is any better. Oh, I'm making soup, just ignoring the horrors outside. It's fine. This is fine. You could please get off. my lawn. It's a new day. We survived another night, so let's go ahead and get back to foraging. In addition to plants, I am going to look for more sources of copper since we only have a few bits back at home, and I'd like to avoid panning as much as possible. A worm! These little guys are from primitive survival. They can be used to fertilize your farms, but they can also, in a pinch, be eaten. Delicious. Might as well get some more canes and sticks while we're at it too. Never hurts. There's a big structure over there, but as detailed as and intact as it looks, I'm betting you anything there will be bad guys there. I've been getting a few birch seeds from these bushes I've been breaking, and I'd just been thoughtlessly planting them back down, but then I remembered I should in fact keep them, because with expanded foods you can actually get syrup from birch seeds at birch trees, at least in certain months of the year, and that sap can be used, or that sap and syrup can be used for a variety of things. So we might as well start our own little grove. I think I'll start it right here, a little ways from the house. It is something of a meme that in Vintage Story, you inevitably go out thousands of blocks looking for a resource only to find it a stone's throw from your house. Well, we're back after another day's foraging, and here is our current stock of seeds. It's not amazing, in particular the amount of flax seeds is pretty pathetic, but I think we have enough that I feel comfortable going ahead and planting them. So we'll get started on that in the morning, after the locals clear off. I forgot to mention we have the very popular mod X Skills, which adds a sort of class-based progression system to the game. You can gain levels in various activities, and it depends on your class which ones you level up more quickly in. Now we have 1 point in the survival skill, so we can pick a perk to choose. Something like long life would give us more life, big stomach would increase our maximum saturation, and so on and so forth. There are also a couple of other perks that are added by hydrate or dehydrate, which increase, say, our max thirst capacity. I think, honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and choose long life, because more health in the early game is a great thing. Always with the bowthorns hanging out on my lawn. Well, now that that's dealt with, for now, I think we can go ahead and turn our attention to farming. I do have a bit of soil here, but I'd like to gather some more so we can plant all of our crops. Thankfully, there's plenty of medium fertility soil in the area, so I'm gonna go and harvest that. That's the dirt gathered, now to lay out the farm. I'm thinking maybe around here-ish. There should be enough space. Okay, that's the field laid out. Now it needs a fence to go around it, and I may be cheeky and just put a fence over water while I wait to gather the blocks. Thankfully, the birch canes we've been using to make chests can also be used to make the basic wattle fence. I may have overextended myself. I haven't gotten nearly enough fences to line this whole thing. I don't know that we have all that much more birch in the area. We'll see. Honestly, I don't know that rabbits would path find all the way into the water and into the crops, but I'm not sure I want to risk it. I'll have to think about this. And that's the area fully fenced off. I swear I will get dirt to fill in the gaps under the floating fences, but right now my priority is to get this field plowed and to start farming. And that's the field plowed, and since it's calm, I think we are good to go ahead and start planting. And that's our little field. We had room to plant all our seeds with some to spare. We do have the Wild Farming Revival mod, which lets us take excess produce and create more seeds from it. So once we've harvested, if we don't still have quite enough to fill in the field, we can duplicate it using our crops. However, this amount should be good for now. I'm hopeful that we can get a couple harvests out of this since we are planting right on time. And yes, I know it is very ugly. I promise, like I said, I will neaten it up. Now that we have the time sensitive tasks out of the way, I'd like to once more turn our attention to progression. Unfortunately, I have only found 3 spots for copper so far, so it looks like we're gonna have to go ahead and pan for the rest. I have already made a wooden pan, and thankfully we do have a good amount of sand in the area, so let's get started. So close, we got to 37 copper. But that's okay because this gives us one more night to do some prep. Silly me, I prepped everything needed for the copper except for the very important crucible. So I'm gonna go ahead and clay form a set right now and set a pit kill. And there we go. Now, we do have some space in here, and I don't really want to go outside right now, so I think we'll go ahead and light the pit kiln in here, maybe right the center of the room. I am very grateful that realistic smoke inhalation is not a thing. Let's see, have the neighbors gone away? Nope. I think boat horns are genuinely bugged. They don't seem to despawn or run away like the rest of the drifters and shivers do. I'm just gonna go ahead and run in the opposite direction. I have fought enough boat horns for one episode. Front door's all nice and clear. Alright, let's get back to the grind. Well, would you look at that? These majestic creatures are mosasaurs from an animal mod that adds prehistoric creatures. I like to sort of headcanon that whatever event caused the temporal instability in the world also started a reaction that spawned ancient creatures back into the world. So we have a variety of animals, from the iconic T-Rex to more different sorts of animals. This guy isn't supposed to be on land, but here he is. He is aggressive, but as long as I stay out of his reach, I don't think he'll bother me. I wonder if I can kill him. I gotta believe he's got a ton of health. But maybe I can take a stab or two. I'm sure he's gonna be a one-hit kill if he actually gets me. Oh, almost a one-hit kill. This is very much a distraction from the mission. But you know, the opportunity is there. That could have gone better. Now it's stuck in my house. What do I do? I did it! It's dead! Wow. I didn't think I'd be able to do it. I mean, now what? I guess we have to skin it and butcher it. I wonder what it'll give us. I can absolutely butcher an entire adult mosasaur and put it on my back, no problem. 68 red meat. We would have gotten more if we properly butchered it, but I think this is OP enough as it is. Mods. They can make the game very fun and more immersive, and sometimes they're just silly. In the vanilla game, this bushmeat wouldn't be very useful, but thanks to expanded foods, we can actually put it and make it into meals, so we can make soup, stew, the works. And that's food sorted for the next few days. I am gonna try and not abuse that. That is very overpowered. But, you know, here at the very start, it can't hurt too much. And our crucibles are done, so it is getting a little late, but in the morning I'll go ahead and get back on that grind and get those last few pieces of copper we need. And now, for real, back to the grind. Ooh, a rare golden necklace. That's a little bit of bling we can wear. Finally, we hit 40. Now we can go ahead and cook this up and get our very first metal tools. Evenly split it out to distribute the heat. I don't know if that does anything, but it sure feels like it. Now I always preheat the crucible with a little bit of peat. In the end, it doesn't save that much charcoal, but over the course of a playthrough, it may mean that's one charcoal pit I don't have to make. Okay, nice and hot. Let's get our tongs ready. And pour it in. There we go. Our pickaxe and hammer are finally ready. With that, we have at last reached the Copper Age of a sort. We still need an anvil. But hey, metal tools. With that, I think we will go ahead and call it for the episode. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your support. You can go ahead and like and subscribe. There's a playlist linked if you would like to see the rest of the series as progresses. Again, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.